Yeah, okay, yeah, we can go together. I'm gonna drive me and and then we want to come back for the show with the new Happiness song. Oh, yeah, I've been listening to one of the bands on Bandcamp, and I'm like, oh no. I'm so hyped for that. Hi. The show last night.
Where's the poop? It kind of looks like a scar, but it's like they want. She wants to turn around. Here's money.
Said we have to go on.
Money?
It's fat.
I can go get more though.
Different spots here for and then just the address where you're registered to be.
Yeah.
Slaving, dude.
He just got a fortune to walk outside all day. Yeah, that I thought I lost.
Actually, that's hard.
Yeah. Well, first of all, he is that. So he's a drag king, but he went to Athens High School.
I know that. I just figured they might have.
Our mayor, day for day. Yes.
Right behind me. I think I lost.
You're okay with that? I think I'm gonna we're just gonna pull up here.
There you go.
Yeah. Wait, I never gonna go up here.
Welcome to our rally today. On behalf of the organizing team from the Southeastern Ohio LGBTQ Center and Coalition, as well as the University LGBT Center. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We just had a friggin' parade down. A huge thank you to all our volunteers and to everyone who has made this week possible. Many thanks to Dewey Decibel System for the sound system that we're using this afternoon, to Event Services for helping us with logistics, especially with providing pizza and other refreshments. Many, many, many thanks to everyone who has donated items for the various raffles that are taking place. Many thanks to El Camino and to Integrated Services for their support. Please give a huge thanks to Ohio Health. Many thanks to all of the groups that are here tabling, either sharing information or selling different things. Please join us tonight at Casa. We have a dance party tonight. Please join us tomorrow at Stroud's Run. We're having a community picnic, potluck, and hike. Join us on Monday for Zanesville Pride. Join us in Portsmouth for Portsmouth Pride towards the end of the month. Rainbows abound, pride abounds. My name is Delphine. I'm the director for the LGBT Center here at the university, as well as a board member for the Southeastern Ohio LGBTQ Center and Coalition. You are pride. We are pride. To slightly tweak Mayor Patterson's words from last year, we are Athens strong and we are Athens pride. As folks here in Ohio, throughout the country, and around the world, we've seen a drastic increase in the number of school and public shootings. We've seen the number rise when it comes to trans people, specifically trans people of color who are being murdered. We saw the mistreatment of the Black Pride 4 at Pride last year in Columbus. This is the 2-year memorial of the shooting at Pulse. We have in the White House a president who refuses to wish us a happy Pride. Despite all of this, we as an LGBTQ community continue to survive and continue to thrive. On Wednesday, we spent time with kids who celebrated gender diversity and shouted several times that boys can wear dresses. On Thursday, over 140 healthcare and mental health care professionals gathered for a day summit focused on the needs of the trans community. The city of Athens raised the pride flag earlier this week, as did Brennan's Coffee raise a pride flag earlier this week. Students at Athens High School, as well as students around the country, are teaching us what it means to be activists. They're teaching us to march for our lives, and they're teaching us to counter violence in many different ways. We also have youth who started an after-school arts program at Arts West called PRISM. Our experiences and lives are being depicted in films such as A Fantastic Woman and Love, Simon. We just had a friggin' parade, people! We celebrate wholeheartedly the support from our sponsors. We even had folks reaching out to us at the beginning of the week saying, is it too late to be able to give some money, to be able to participate today? And we were like, oh, hell no, please do come. 175 people gathered at Athens Public Library to hear drag performers read children stories. As a natural introvert, that was very overwhelming. A parent came up to me afterward with tears of joy in her eyes, sharing that this was the first place and first time that her child was celebrated, not just tolerated. A lot of comments on social media from individuals who have connections to Athens but who aren't able to be here in person, sending their love, sending their pride, sending their solidarity. It is this, it is you all, it is everyone who is connected to Pride that we have Pride. Pride is about community. Pride is also about political revolution. Our existence is a form of resistance. Our pride is revolution. We need to support queer youth now and affirm the amazingness of their beingness now. We need to pass the Ohio Fairness Bill so that LGBTQ folks can go about their lives without fear of being discriminated against or harassed. We need to have conversations now about the awesome fierceness of our LGBTQ elders and the legacies that we continue and the lives that they live, not only in the past, but the lives that they continue to live now. We need to be ace positive because asexuals are awesome and are very real. We must celebrate that trans people matter now and matter always. Trans men are men. Trans women are women. We're just awesome, period. We need to honor our roots, and this is a shout out to Lauren Marston. We need to get to know our history and our herstory and our Q story. We need to learn about Compton and Stonewall and Sylvia and Marcia and Gloria and Miss Major and Freddie Martinez and Patty Murray. The realities of HIV and AIDS, two-spirit identities that were vibrant in this country before colonization happened. We need to remember and also re-remember our story in its fullness and its awesomeness. To those of you who do not identify as LGBT and are in solidarity with us, white LGBT folks and non-LGBT folks, we queer people of color exist. Stop erasing us, period. Straight cisgender folks, stop taking up space and stop appropriating our spaces, period. To quote Darnell Moore, we need accomplices, not allies. We need folks who will live the struggle with us, not for us, or assumed for us. We need folks to put up safe zone cards and to wear I'll go with you buttons, not as something kitschy and trendy, but as a true sign of their solidarity with our community. We appreciate when you amplify our voices. Please make sure you ask for our consent first. We are the drivers of the revolution. As our accomplices, you are the passengers, and thanks for coming on the ride. Pride is community. Pride is political revolution. Pride is you, me, and all of us. Pride is intersectional fierceness and sacred sexy sass today and always. Muchas gracias, si se puede. Many thanks to our speakers who will ultimately share what Pride means to them. After they wow us, again, the microphone is open for others to come up and also share. Please join me in welcoming Margot Cowden and Beck Bailey. Margot is the director of the Scholars Program here at the university, and Beck is from HRC, the Human Rights Campaign.
When I think about, just a moment, the beginnings of Pride, we think about Compton and Stonewall. When we think about Stonewall, you know, that was a riot. That was a bunch of our people saying enough. Enough of being silenced, enough of being harassed, enough of being jailed, enough of being beaten. People forget that Stonewall actually happened over a number of days. It started on the 28th in 1969, and over several days, queer people came from all around the state to join in and to help out and to be part of that moment. People who, up until that moment, may not have ever been out. And so it was also about visibility, resistance and visibility. And today, when I come to Pride, one of the things I love about it is seeing everyone and being seen by folks and being affirmed and getting that nod like, hey, I see you, you look fabulous, right? And it's such a celebratory moment. But we've also heard that word resistance a lot, especially since the last presidential election. It's time to resist. It's time to register if you aren't already. And it's time to vote. It's time to get in the game and make your voice heard. And resist, resist, resist. So this pride, awesome, fabulous, glitter, be yourself, and resist and celebrate. Thank you so much for being here.
Pride, when do we want it? Now! What do we want? Pride! When do we want it? Now! Please join me in welcoming Jeremy Webster from OU Zanesville.
Happy Pride, everybody. And greetings from Ohio University Zanesville, where it is my pleasure to be Dean of the campus. After Amy asked me to say a few words a couple weeks ago, I've been racking my brain trying to think about what would I want to say and what could I say. This morning I found my old Aggie Pride t-shirt, which reminded me that 30 years ago is when I graduated from high school and then started college the subsequent fall. You're also saying, oh no, you don't look that old. And when I started college, I was not an out happy kid. I was very closeted. I was desperately scared with my family to find out that I was gay. I went to a school known for being the top military school in the country for public institutions, and it was an incredibly conservative time. Now, it turns out the Corps of Cadets were incredibly hot, so it was learning who I was, which I did by the time I left A&M. 30 years later, I'm proud to say that I'm an out gay man, married to my wife. I'm also proud to say that I am part of this institution's academic leadership. And I think it is incredible that our university celebrates the LGBTQ+ community, and we don't always get it right, that they try really hard to include us and to welcome us and to do better each and every year. So I think that's something to be really proud about. In 30 years, I think what's made the most difference to me, we all talk about what it gets better, but the reason it gets better is because of this today. These kinds of activities where we come together as a community, as Margot and Beck said, it re-energizes us, and it makes us remember that we are citizens. One of the final lines of my favorite play, Angels in America, Pryor says, we will be citizens, meaning we'll no longer step in the back, we'll no longer be quiet, we'll no longer be afraid, we'll no longer be silent. Instead, we're going to vote, we're going to rally, we're going to make change, and I encourage you to use today as that time to rejuvenate and go forth and make change all of this year, especially in November.
Jem and his husband were the first couple to get married here in Athens, been married for 12 years. And welcoming my friends and colleague Chris Neville, who will introduce our next speaker.
Happy Pride! How is everyone? Yes, I'm so excited to be here. One thing you may not know about me is I absolutely hate speaking in front of people. Yes. So anyways, I just wanted to introduce somebody very special to me, a coworker, a friend, and a leader. And it is President of Oblenis Hospital, Mark Seckinger.
I want to thank everybody for inviting me to speak here today and for including the associates of Oblenis Hospital and other associates from Ohio Health. We are all proud to stand with the LGBTQ associates and community members. We do so with open arms. At Ohio Health, our mission is simple, to improve the health of those we serve. But we believe that improving health involves more than taking vital signs, diagnosing, and treating the patient. We believe that we must honor the dignity of worth of each person.
I have pink mouth.
We believe that our policies and practice must be designed to encourage equality, including our LGBTQ patients and associates. We believe that leaning into these issues requires that we not only provide training for our caregivers and our associates, but also demonstrate our commitment to caring for diverse populations on a daily basis. We believe every patient deserves providers who understand the challenges they face and will walk with them towards better health care, one step at a time. We believe the differences our associates bring to the workplace, their experience, their viewpoints, their talents, only strengthens us as an organization. And by embracing this diversity, we can better meet the needs of our diverse communities and patients. I believe that it's important for both individuals and organizations to take a stand on LGBTQ rights in order to act as a catalyst for others to do the same. For all of us who are lucky to call Southeast Ohio home as I do, I am so in awe of what today was. I was so proud to march in the parade. You can't believe how important it is to Oblenis Hospital, because it's the right thing to do. I'd like to close with a quote from our 57th president, Barack Obama. When all Americans are treated equal, no matter who they are or whom they love, we are all more free. Thank you very much.
That pride flag. Brown and black stripe. Name that flag. Really, folks? Really? Thank you for those who did stream it out. It is the pride flag that was flown last year in Philadelphia Pride to be more inclusive and intersectional when it comes to the realities of those of us who are LGBT as well as people of color. Athens Impact Socially Responsible Investment Diva of all things, Michelle Wilson.
Thank you everybody for allowing me to speak for a minute. I wanted to make sure there was somebody here who spoke to people who grew up in very oppressive religious homes about when they learned about their, when they were an LGBT person. So people who grew up with shame and feeling like they were a bad person. And who maybe are on a longer journey to find where they're at. And to me what pride means, I'll never forget the first time I saw a pride parade, because I believe that gay people were bad and selfish and sex crazy, and I wasn't those things, so I couldn't possibly be gay. Because some of us are taught those things when we grow up. And the first time I ever went to a pride parade, I was driving down the highway. I apologize. Didn't mean to get, didn't realize how hard you can talk about, so. I was driving down the road in Cincinnati and I was in traffic and there was an overpass and I saw the balloons and the floats and I just started crying because it was an affirmation that there are other people out there and that you can be a good person and you can be gay and you don't have to be a sex crazy person to be bisexual and you can be pansexual and you can be polyamorous and monogamous at the same time. All of those things work. And so up feeling shame and feeling like they were a bad person, I hope that you know that you're a good person and that pride is about affirming who you are and it's okay to be who you are, whatever labels you fall under or even are uncomfortable with still, that's okay too. So I just wanted to make sure there was somebody who spoke to that today. Thank you.
Join me in welcoming Gil Moore, who will share a humorous anecdote.
Hello, Pride. This is a cute little story. It's true. And I gotta tell you, I'm not a smart guy. And I'm not quick, I'm not witty. But one time in my life, I did the right thing to say at the right minute, and not the next day. Michelle and I used to farm chickens, and I needed chicken feed. And I ride a big, nasty BMW motorcycle. It's a little, but it's a great bike. And I stopped at the Rural King over in Vienna, West Virginia, and I'm getting chicken feed. And I come out, I got 100 pounds of chicken feed, I put it on the back of the bike. I do that. Hey, it works. Michelle weighs over 100 pounds. So I've got 2 bungee cords, I'm putting this on, and the guy pulls up, and he's your basic, my age guy from the Midwest. He's in a pickup truck, he's got a hat on, which means he thinks we're like brothers or something. And he hops off and he says, and I'm going to try to do his voice, he says, hey, I like that BMW motorcycle. I said, yeah, I like it real well. He said, let me tell you something about my friend Vernon. Did you know that Seattle's full of queers? I didn't know that. Tell me more. So me and Vernon was at a training in Seattle. And they must have thought he was pretty because they kept hitting on him. He got hit on 3 times a day while I was there. He finally said, Bill, do I look like a queer to you? And I said, no, Vern, you don't look like a queer to me. Ha, ha, ha. That's fascinating. Tell me more. So I seen Vern the other day, and he just got a BMW motorcycle, just like yours. Does yours have a reverse? No. Well, his motorcycle's got a reverse. He said, hey, Bill, look at this. And he pushed the button and it backed up. And I said, Vernon, you ain't strong enough to back up a motorcycle without a reverse. You remember all them years ago we went to Seattle and you asked me if you looked like a queer, and I said, no. He said, yeah. I said, well, Vern, you sure look like a queer now. I said, really? And I'm done now. I've got my helmet on. I'm getting ready to ride away. I said, I'm curious about something, Bill. Just what does a queer look like? And he said, what do you mean? What does a queer look like? I want to know. I got to keep my eyes out. He said, well, I don't know. One time I got it right. We look like this, sweetheart. And I rode away. I gotta tell you, I'm old enough, I remember when people would look around the room, and if everybody was white, they thought it was okay to tell racist jokes. That doesn't happen much anymore because enough of us said, no, that's not cool, that's not funny. And this is how we're gonna do it. Thank you.
Hey y'all, join me in chanting, you came to Pride and you're also getting a bilingual lesson. How many of you know what Si Se Puede means? Yeah. We started that, not President Obama. He took that from the Hispanic and Latino community. And so that came from the migrant workers movement and farm workers movements. And so thank you, President Obama, for making it famous, but you didn't originate it. Dolores Huerta did. So, everyone, start chanting Si Se Puede. 1, 2, 3, go! Louder! From the diaphragm! Let Columbus hear you! One more time! Please join me in welcoming my GA and member of Shades, which is our student group here for queer people of color, Jeremy Sierra. my GA, my pride.
Hello everybody. Thank you for inviting me to speak. It's great to see so many people. When I was first saw the prompt, it said, what does pride mean to you? And it's kind of hard to answer that question because there's so many things that pride means to me. So I thought I would use this moment to say what pride isn't to me and give some critiques. So I hope you all pay attention and remember what I say. But at the end, I will share what I do enjoy about pride. So first, I think pride should have no police involvement whatsoever. If we all keep hearing about Stonewall and how it was a riot. It was a riot against the police, the oppressive institution that the police. So it seems very antithetical to me that we invite the police to this parade when there's very reason this whole thing started. So the second thing that I do not know about pride is the whitewashing and the cis-washing of pride. No offense to any cis-gay white men, but I'm tired of seeing cis-gay white men. Stonewall was led by queer people of color, queer trans people of color, queer sex workers of color. Why are we still focused on the cis-white gay men? The queer people of color have gained the least, yet they were the ones who started the whole thing. So we really need to honor and respect them and fight for them. And I hate capitalism. So when it comes to pride, I get even more anger when I start seeing, starting the end of May, beginning of June, it seems like every single company starts launching pride brands, rainbow merch, things like that. Yet at the same time, they do absolutely nothing to help the queer community, and as if we don't exist the other 11 months out of the year.
Come on now.
And obviously, I love pride merch just as much as the next person. There's no ethical consumption under capitalism. But if you're going to buy pride merch, there are small queer-owned businesses, small POC-owned businesses that give back to the community. So when you go buy your pride merch, please do your research and support those communities. Now to what I enjoy about pride. This last year, probably the toughest year of my life. I pretty much was disowned by my mother, and that was a really rough point in my life for being who I am and working at the LGBT Center. But I saw the strength and resiliency of my friends, many of whom are here in the front. Hey! And seeing the queer community and working at the LGBT Center, seeing the strength and resiliency and compassion and care that these people have really helped me get through. And that's really what pride is to me. It's celebrating each other, being resilient, and just being there for each other even though we all go through rough times. So just remember the first things I said while you're celebrating pride. I know this is a very fun time for everybody, so thank you again for having me.
My GA, my pride. And in terms of rainbow awesomeness, I am also biased because she was my first GA. Please come to the table where the awesome, fierce Megan, now Russell, formerly Diegas, is selling rainbow stuff. Please also support our other vendors. Please support our other vendors that are here. I'm just biased because she was my first. Anyway. Please join me in welcoming B. Kelly, who is the director for a local organization, Be Phenomenal.
Happy Pride, everybody! Yeah. As he so kindly stated, I'm B. Kelly. I am DJ Be Phenomenal. I am also a mental health worker, have been for over 15 years. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Pride is important to me because I refuse to be silenced, erased, or killed. I am my ancestors' legacy of miracles, generational poverty broken, educated beyond the heights of academia, and still continuing to rise. Ask me why my pride is so crucial. And in the arms of an angel, you'll find me crying tears of joy. Because I know I'm beautiful, damn it. But the world hates the skin I'm in. The clothes I wear, the way I love. But don't you dare feel sorry for me. There is pride in my pain and a wealth of value in all that is me. Black, white, radical, conservative, I am a woman phenomenally. I said, ain't I a woman who loves women? Let me say it again, who loves women from the top of her head to the roots of my feet. Oh, and I'm a believer that is absolutely sure God loves me. I'm also two-spirited. I simply defy all your logic, I shatter all your statistics, and I show you alchemy at its finest. As I turn every single phobia, hate, and stigma into more and more pride, still I rise. With my eye on the prize, that's me. That is what my pride means to me.
For folks who haven't seen, a huge thank you to Debbie Phillips and Pauline Phillips. If you haven't seen, in the back there is a miniature rainbow horse. Enjoy. Please join me in welcoming Carolyn Hunter, who is the president for Shades for this upcoming year.
Hey, Athens. And when I was 13, I was watching my mother. What women does that have? So when we were watching this episode, it was about Prince Man Vendra, the first openly gay prince who was disowned and disrecognized in India for coming out of the closet. And as I sat across my mother's bedside, I asked, what happens if one of us come out as gay? My mother never really heard that one before. She was a little taken aback. I'm the youngest of 10 children, so this is like, okay. She goes, well, that's not the worst thing that could happen. And of course, I asked, what's the worst thing that could happen? And she said, well, if you murdered somebody, just don't go back home. And that was usually the end of that conversation, but just last Friday, I was at work and she called me and she asked if we could have the Oprah talk. So we had the Oprah talk and I came out as bisexual. Carolyn had, 12-year-old Carolyn had really good foreshadowing. So shout out to her, pat on the back. So like that, I came out as bisexual. I was like, I like to say it, bisexual. Fire me for that joke, please. I was never afraid of coming out personally to my family or whatever. I knew that they were going to be out for me. But I was afraid of the implications of being a black queer woman, especially in communities that are predominantly white, especially this country and around the world. I learned about the black queers that were not only stood at the front lines, but they drew them. And that's what led me to my journey as a queer woman. So I want to remind y'all that the first Pride was a riot. And at the birth of Pride, it was a black queer woman. Say your name. Say it again. That threw the first brick. And it was 3 black queer women, Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Opal Tometi, who started the Black Lives Matter movement in the wake of this pushing of black people at the hands of who continue to see us as freezer of themselves. And after the officer who was acquitted on charges of Philando Castile's murder, there stood 4 black queers by the name of Ripley Bennett, Kendall Denton, Ashley Braxton, and DeAndre Antonio Miles Hercules, the
the midst of the Columbus Pride for calling action, protesting, and facing irresponsible apprehension and charges to vocalize the injustices and the invisibility that Black and brown families have in the spaces that we created. The Pride to me is a Black and brown invention, an ideation of strength by those who never had any agency. Pride means throwing one brick to dismantle the system with carrying two in your purse for safety. Pride is power that is self-sustaining, that dismantles systems of oppression too comfortable in our country and the world. So to Marsha, Black Lives Matters founders, the Black Pride Corps, Bayard Rustin, Josephine Baker, Malcolm X, my friends, my Shades family, Delphine, and Queer Residential. If you could say with me, in the spirit of Ubuntu, I am.
I am.
Because you are.
Because you are.
Again, I am. Because you are. Because we are. Thank you and happy Pride.
Please join me in welcoming my good friends and fellow trans revolutionary warrior here in Athens, Theo Hutchinson.
Look at this wonderful sea of very colorful faces, bodies, spirits, and souls. That's absolutely wonderful. I'm going to make this a personal reason to be proud, and it's something that I'm trying to get used to. Some of you have heard me say a little bit of my story that begins always with the first line, when I was born, I became a ghost. If you're a ghost, you can't be seen, but yet you're still there, moving among the people. The reason I became a ghost is because the moment I was born, the doctor said, congratulations, it's a girl. Now, girls, women, and women-identified folks, I have found, especially as I have found myself as a trans male, girls, women, women-identified folks are the most awesome people on the face of this world. We would be nowhere without women. They are the strongest, they are the heartiest in both strength, fullness, and in that heart of love. So thank you, sisters. I will never forget the lessons that I learned growing up in a female embodiment. I will never forget that. I actually birthed 2 sons of my own. It's amazing. And so I love women in all your glory. I had to say that because I don't want anyone ever to think the lie that gets perpetrated that trans men are men because they don't like women. That is not true. As a trans man, I have continued to develop an even greater appreciation for what girls and women do in our society, and my responsibility to make sure that I check my privilege, even as a trans man, and to make sure that I open doors whenever I can for every girl, every woman, gay or straight, or trans sister. So let me tell you why I need pride. I need pride because for over 5 decades of my life, I walked this earth as a ghost. I tried to cover up the pain and sorrow in my soul that I had no idea what the cause was. I had no idea when I was born a couple years ago. No one was talking about trans people. At most, you'd get the snickers about trannies, drug addicts, sex workers, and my gosh, who would want to be a part of that, right? Me. But I lived with that sorrow. I tried to cover it up with drugs, with alcohol. I tried to cover it up with my body and eating until I grew to over 300 pounds. It was not a healthy way to live. Needless to say, when you walk as a ghost among people, you develop an incredible amount of shame. I lived with shame that there was something desperately wrong with me. So wrong that God would not stop my body from becoming that female shape. So desperately wrong that I cried myself to sleep at night when I was a teenager. You can't go on and still stay on this earth with that kind of pain, and so that's why I tried to cover it up. But now, as of about 3-4 years ago, finally, partially because of some of you here, and people like Marsha P., and others who have paved the way that we just heard about, I came to understand who I was, and no longer am I a ghost. But after 5 years of living with that shame, it hasn't gone away in 1 day, or 2 days, or 3 days. It's something that I'm still working on. And so pride, to me, is something deeply personal. It's political, it's cultural, it's social, but you know what? My pride has to be here in my heart. Has to be here. Last year, about this time, I won a contest, the only thing I've ever won in my life, sponsored by an organization called SAGE, which is Services and Advocacy for Lesbian and Gay and Trans folks who are elders. It's in New York City. Please visit their website. Because now that I'm an elder and recognize they're not calling us elderly, because we're not elderly. They're not calling us old or oldsters because we're not old or oldsters. We are elders who possess history and wisdom. I stand on the shoulder of some of those elders. Some of them are here in the audience today. And my mission, learned from SAGE, is that we will not be invisible. We have something to share and learn from you. But in our youth-oriented society, we are often left out. And so to help me fill that hole that was once in me, to help me overcome the shame, I need you to help me be proud. To be proud of who I am. That means I need to be seen by you. More than a like on Facebook, right? More than a like on Facebook. I have to say, one little thing that happened today, lots of things happened, but one little thing that shows exactly what I mean. Came here, I'm enjoying everything. One of my straight cis colleagues came over to me as I was sitting there on the hillside. And she said, just wanted to let you know I'm thinking about you. Just wanted to come over and say hi, and she introduced her daughter to me. That little thing is more than liking something on Facebook. That little thing says, Laura Black, you saw me today. And you said, there's my trans friend. Maybe my trans friend needs to see that I'm here. Not just in a big political rally, but see that I, the human being, am here. We have too much sorrow going on, too many elders taking their lives as we've just felt the last couple of days. Part of that is because we become invisible in this society. I've waited too long, too many decades of being invisible. I'm not going to let anybody get away with that anymore. Please see us. So I'm going to close with this, because I need you, each one of you, to help fill me up from the 50+ decades of feeling like a ghost. I'm going to say, I am here, and I want you to say, be proud. You got to help me fill it up, right? So let's do it 3 times. I am here. Be proud. I am here. Be proud. I'm here. Be proud.
What do we want? Pride! When do we want it? Now! Louder! What do we want? Pride! When do we want it? Now! One more time. What do we want? Pride! When do we Please join me in welcoming my friend and fellow board member, Megan Smith.
Happy Pride, Athens! I've been wondering exactly what to talk about until just the other day, when my neighbor passed me in my apartment building, and with her little child with her, looked up at her and said, "Who's that guy, Mommy?" And she looked at the kid and said, "Good girl, he is right here." The amount of venom and hate that she managed to put into that single word, the smirk on her face as she dared me to say anything to her at all. And that was just the very start of my day. As I climbed into my car after that encounter, trying to shove away the hurt and the dysphoria, I realized right then what pride meant to me. That I'd survived. Era of religious persecution. It's time for me to look back, realize just how far I've come, and just how far we still have yet to go. Every week we take losses in the rights of trans people across the nation. Fortunately, we have made more progress than we have failure. The friends, family, and allies who have helped argue for my right to exist as a person, because of you and the trans individuals who have had the courage to stand in the spotlight and say, "Here I am." That is the reason I have hope for the future. For the first time in my life, I can see the possibility of a future that allows me the same rights that everyone else enjoys. The right to use the restroom without getting beaten or threatened with rape or violence. The right to a job that cannot force upon me a role that I do not fit. The freedom to simply exist as myself. I am fortunate enough to live in a city which recognizes those rights and guarantees those rights. Many people, however, do not have that luxury. I want to thank everyone who has helped us in that struggle. Without you, this world would be an even more dangerous place than it is now. But this fight is far from over. And we still need your strength and your support to continue making a difference. Please, I ask you to donate to your local LGBT nonprofit organizations, whatever that may be. The Southeast Ohio Coalition, of course, is a great place to start. Maybe even volunteer your time to help out when and where you can. For it is only by standing together that we can weather the storm that is to come. Thank you, and I hope to see your faces at the dance party tonight at Casa Nueva.
Join me in chanting trans rights now. 1, 2, 3. Go! Trans rights now! Again! Trans rights now! Louder! Trans rights now! Louder! Trans rights now! One more time! Trans rights now! Amen! Join me in welcoming Thais Henriquez from the International Socialist Organization.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Hi, Kai.
So my name is Thais, and what Pride means to me, the first Pride was a riot. We talked about that already today, right? But I think that's a really powerful phrase, and it's probably the first thing that comes to mind when I think of Pride. The first Pride was a riot. And I think we have to remember that. Today's a day for celebrating, but it's also a day for remembering all the lives we lost, and remembering all the struggles we fought, and remembering that the only way that we can keep advancing society and that we can help those who are struggling under this oppressive system is through demanding our rights, protesting, getting out there. Voting probably won't make that much of a difference. But if we all stay together and work together to create a better future, I'm sure we can get there. Thanks.
So on behalf of Hillel, Bree Becker is the director for Hillel. Happy Pride. She was going to try to be here, but also had a conflicting event. Last year, about this time, many of you know our Safety Services Director here in Athens, Paula, who has since retired. But shortly before Athens Pride Fest last year, their niece completed suicide. And we did invite Paula to be here today to share a little bit, but she wasn't ready to do so. But we did want to affirm her and affirm her family, and so please join me in a moment of silence, not only for Paula's niece, but for all who have been silenced. To date, I believe there have been 10 trans people who have been murdered this year. We've had multiple shootings in schools. Some of those people who have died may be LGBT, may not be LGBT. It doesn't matter, we still want to honor them with our silence as well as our activism. And so please join me in just a moment of silence, of solidarity with all who have been silenced. Thank you. Please join me in welcoming from the People's Justice League, Serafina Fury.
Hi, my other name is Sarah Fick, and I wanted to just quickly tell you about an app that we just got. It's really exciting, but first I'm going to read our mission statement. If you've ever written a mission statement, you will know that it is very difficult to do. So People's Justice League is a grassroots community organization working to support safe streets, campuses, establishments, and gathering places in Southeast Ohio through community education and activism. We know that for many people, navigating public space is fraught with harassment and violence simply because of who they are. Our programming works to address this with a variety of platforms designed to eradicate bias, harassment, discrimination, and abuse, targeting any part of a person's perceived identity. This includes, but is not limited to, race, religion, ethnicity, gender, sexuality, class, and disability. We work to create long-term networks of support that will empower our spirits to continue to thrive despite the oppressions we face. And our vision statement. We envision a world free from all forms of domination, where all people have free and equitable access to public spaces, services, information, and institutions, and no one must fear harm by any person or institution on the basis of perceived identity. So I wanted to let you know that the two things that we do the most is we teach active bystander classes, and we also have a free incident reporter app where anyone who wants to let the community know about things that are happening can access that free app either through our website, peoplesjusticeleague.com, or you can download it from Google Play or the App Store. So if you're facing harassment, intimidation, anything like that, and you want the community to know about it, you can do that 100% anonymously through either of those sources. And we also have our Active Bystander Coalition, where businesses take a pledge to take harassment seriously.